The race is on who will be the first to launch a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund in the United States and Europe. There is already a Bitcoin exchange-traded note ETF available to investors. In the US, it is widely anticipated a Bitcoin ETF will be approved by the US Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) very soon. In Europe, ETNs are designed to track the movement of Bitcoin against the US dollar. The ETNs are Bitcoin Tracker 1, which is traded in Swedish krona, and Bitcoin Tracker Euro, which is traded in euro. Both ETNs are issued by XBT provider AB and traded on Nasdaq OMX Stockholm. Dave Natted, CEO of ETF.com and previously the director of ETFs at FactSet Research Systems, believes we can expect to see Bitcoin futures-based ETF launched in the US by the end of this year. Yes, you can already trade a derivative in Europe, an exchange-traded note which tracks Bitcoin, Natted adds. Then the race in the US is the race to see what gets approval first. Will it be a Bitcoin future or a straight-up Bitcoin holding ETF? My bet is that we will see Bitcoin futures approved fairly quickly. Are you investing in cryptocurrency? Don't miss TheStreet's coverage for those unfamiliar with futures-based ETFs. These instruments invest in futures contracts. Many futures-based ETFs do not take possession of the physical commodity, but rather keep the capital moving from one basket of futures contracts to another. Futures have expiry dates, so the futures rollover is an integral part of the business. The ETF investor doesn't have direct exposure to the underlying commodity, but simply deals in cash in terms of purchase or redemption of ETF units. Natted explains that index futures are fairly straightforward. However, after the launch, there will be the question as to whether or not people will want to trade based on the future value of that index. Natted adds there is a lot of interest in Bitcoin, and a futures exchange-traded fund would be very attractive. Bitcoin ETF coming. Natted explains investment management firm VanEck recently filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) to launch Bitcoin futures-based ETF called the VanEck Vectors Bitcoin Strategy ETF. It will not hold actual Bitcoin, but will invest up to 25% of its value in derivative instruments. Then there's the Winklevis twins, whose application to launch the Winklevis Bitcoin ETF Coin ETF was rejected earlier this year. The SEC cited a lack of regulation and surveillance sharing agreements between exchanges. The twins have reapplied to the SEC for approval. It seems the bar is high for approval. Amid the changing of the guard at the SEC, Natted expects a Bitcoin ETF to be approved soon. But I don't think this will be at the top of the SEC agenda, he said. Andrew Left has said he believes the SEC will approve Bitcoin products such as ETFs, and that we should expect cryptocurrency ETFs very soon. Watch hyperinflation is boosting Bitcoin in this country. More of what's trending on TheStreet.